We've been telling you about the black fungus outbreak in India and how there have been reports coming in of a shortage of the antifungal drug. In the national capital too, it's not just a concern over the shortage of COVID-19 vaccines, but a shortage of amphotericin B that's leading to issues. This drug is used to treat black fungus patients. It has been running low in several states due to a sudden spurt in cases. On Saturday, Delhi Health Minister Satyendra Jain hit out at the central government, saying that the supply of the drug used for treating black fungus is with the centre and there's a shortage of the drug not only in Delhi but in different states across the country. As of now, going by the data from the government, there are nearly 9,000 confirmed mucormycosis or black fungus cases across the country. Most of them have been reported in Gujarat, followed by the state of Andhra Pradesh. And let's also tell you about how cases are piling up. COVID woes seem to be piling up for Indore as the city is witnessing a sharp rise in black fungus cases, adding to the patient's misery. The government has been unable to ensure proper distribution of amphotericin B injections, which helps in curing the deadly infection. Indore has a 3-member nodal committee to streamline the process of approving requests for amphotericin B injection. But the patients' families claim that the nodal committee members misbehaved with them upon being approached for their signature for approval. The sufferers allege that the Mahatma Gandhi Medical College authorities even threatened to call cops after people gathered for meeting college's dean seeking his approval on the medicine's request.
हमें ये बताया गया था कि यहाँ पे हमें साइन कराना होंगे डीन साहब के, ये सब फॉर्मेट हमें दिया गया है। इस फॉर्मेट पे अस्पताल ने हमको दे दिया। अस्पताल के कर्मचारी 3 दिन से यहाँ आ रहे थे और डीन साहब ने यहाँ से उनको ये बोल के मना कर दिया है कि यहाँ पे हमारे पास स्टॉक अवेलेबल नहीं है, हम साइन नहीं करेंगे, आपको जिससे कंप्लेंट करनी कर दो।
मेरी मदर ग्रेटर कैलाश में एडमिट हैं। उन्हें डॉक्टर ने कल टोक्लीजुमाब इंजेक्शन प्रेस्क्राइब किया है। कल शाम उस सिग्नेचर को वो भी इंजेक्शन मार्केट में अवेलेबल है। मैंने फार्मेसी पे पता किया था, लेकिन वही लेने का प्रोसीजर यही है कि डीन साहब की सिग्नेचर लगेगी। सिग्नेचर के लिए कल शाम से यहाँ से परेशान है। सर बोलते हैं कि स्टॉक अवेलेबल नहीं है, जिसमें कि हम फार्मेसी पे पूछ चुके हैं स्टॉक अवेलेबल है, तो भी साइन नहीं हो रही है। यहाँ पे सवेरे से परेशान हो रहे हैं।
जो इंजेक्शन्स हमको सप्लाई हुए हैं ऑफिशियली जो है वो इंजेक्शन की उपलब्धता नहीं है, तो हम ये जो ऑर्डर जिसको साइन करते हैं इसको तभी कर सकते हैं जबकि इंजेक्शन उपलब्ध हो, नंबर 1। नंबर 2, इसीलिए हम लोगों ने कल भी बोला, आज भी बोल रहे हैं, जितने अस्पताल हैं उनको भी हमने लिखित में दे दिया है कि हमारे पास इंजेक्शन्स अवेलेबल नहीं हैं।
You've got coronavirus to worry about, black fungus to worry about. Now there's a serious threat of thrombosis and gangrene that looms large, particularly for COVID patients. Patients now have an added risk of suffering from thrombosis, which is blood clots post-recovery. And this is due to low immunity. The coagulation or the system that regulates blood flow is compromised after being infected from the virus. It can affect the lower limb, the upper limb, heart arteries, brain or any part of the body. Early diagnosis within 1 to 6 hours is crucial in these circumstances. However, if symptoms are ignored, thrombosis can lead to gangrene, and that could even result in amputation of the affected body part. Gangrene essentially is the death of tissues due to a lack of blood supply. Patients with comorbidities like hypertension, like diabetes, kidney ailments are more prone to gangrene. Experts say that cases of thrombosis and gangrene have increased in the second wave of the pandemic compared to that of the first wave. Now, in the last few days, there's been an explosion of requests for an ECMO machine for critical COVID patients. Doctors say that these life-saving machines is beneficial in some patients, but in no way is it a magic bullet.
Twitter explodes with ECMO requests as critical COVID cases go up. ECMO is in demand in India. But what is it exactly and what does it do? Doctors warn, use it only as the last resort.
The benefit of ECMO is there only when a proper patient selection is there, planning is there, execution is proper, and the weaning from ECMO is also done judiciously.
ECMO or the extracorporeal membrane oxygenation procedure is expensive, but used as the last resort when everything else has failed. It is a method where blood of the patient is drawn out of the body into a machine. The oxygen is mixed with the blood using a special procedure, and this blood is pumped back into the machine and sent back to the body, giving rest to the heart and the lungs of the patient. Once the patient is on this machine, it is touted unethical to remove the patient off it unless the doctor feels the patient has stabilized.
ECMO is used during life-threatening conditions such as severe lung damage that from infection or a shock from a massive heart attack. People who use ECMO are very sick, and it is by no way, shape or form is it a magic wand. There's no guarantee that if you go on ECMO, you're going to have a good outcome.
Not all hospitals have this procedure, and not all know how to operate this complex system. To top it, it can cost the patient's family anything between 1 lakh to 3 lakh rupees a day to be on this. This works as an artificial heart-lung machine that may help the damaged lungs to heal.
Many people are made to believe that ECMO is some magic wand. The fact of the matter is, doctors warn it is not any magical machine, but yes, it does help the lungs recover with a mortality rate of not higher than 50% once the patient is on this treatment. It keeps the patient stable till the lungs recover or they have a lung transplant. And hence, consult experts, take multiple medical opinions before stressing over ECMO, which is in serious dearth in India. In New Delhi, Chaiti Narula for India Today.
More than 450 doctors have died in the last 2 months alone, and this is according to India's top medical body. And given that the Indian Medical Association, the IMA, is keeping account of only 3.5 lakh doctors, there are in fact more than 12 lakh in the country, which means that the count could be much more. Sneha Murdani gets you this report.
इस वायरस ने हमारे कई अपनों को
A visibly emotional Prime Minister talking about the contribution of doctors and frontline workers and how they are falling in the line of duty.
हमसे छीना है। मैं उन सभी लोगों को अपनी विनम्र श्रद्धांजलि देता हूं।
Their sacrifice no less than the sacrifice of those who protect the country. They are not dry statistics. They are humans going beyond the call of duty and risking themselves to rise to the occasion. The Indian Medical Association says 452 doctors have died in the second wave of the pandemic. This includes 103 doctors in Delhi, 96 in Bihar, 41 in UP, 31 in Gujarat, and 28 in Andhra Pradesh. The Indian Medical Association keeps a record of its members, which is 3.5 lakh doctors in India. The country, however, has more than 12 lakh doctors. Who is counting them?
It is our very strong demand that the government should maintain the official data. Secondly, government should make provisions for the accessible and affordable treatment of all the healthcare workers who have contracted COVID.
Earlier this week, the top medical body reported 270 doctors had died due to coronavirus. Among them was former Indian Medical Association President Dr. K.K. Agarwal, who also died due to coronavirus. He was 62. According to the IMA's COVID-19 registry, 748 doctors died to the disease in the first wave of the pandemic.
The doctors in the second wave are working in the hospital for more than 8 hours per day. The viral load which is enumerating there, which is their doctors getting exposed to that, is tremendous because of this density of the viral load. Even if they are immunized, even if they have all the immunity with them, this viral, we can overpower them and could cause the disease on them.
More so, doctors say financial cover to the family of fallen doctors has only reached a few.
Unfortunately, under the PM Garib Kalyan Yojana, where the provision of 50 lakhs rupees is kept, only 288 families of healthcare workers have got this compensation. The surety of job and the safety of job is very, very important in continuing our fight against this COVID pandemic.
The Supreme Court has asked the centre to notify it as to how many corona warriors, which is healthcare workers, doctors and other medical staff, about 22 lakh of them in the country, have got the benefits of the Prime Minister's insurance scheme after succumbing to this infection, which means how many families of these healthcare workers have got the benefits. The centre is going to get back to the apex court, but for the meantime has said that they have extended the benefits of the scheme for up to another year, which means that up until April 2022, this scheme is going to be in effect. In New Delhi, Sneha Mordani for India Today.
We've been getting you reports here on India Today of how the second wave of coronavirus is wreaking havoc in rural India. Here's a report from Bikaner's Khara village, where overburdened healthcare workers, there's a shortage of medicines and no ICU beds means that villagers are left in the lurch. The hinterlands clearly are paying for the chronic neglect of authorities. Moshmi Singh reports.
Rajasthan government has made tall claims about reaching out to rural parts to provide support and medical care to villagers. However, a reality check in Khara village, not so far away from Bikaner city, exposes the truth behind these claims.
Hello and welcome. You're watching India Today and I am Mosmi Singh, bringing you this special report as we crisscross Rajasthan to get you the other side of the story, away from the government claims and the data. We've reached Bikaner and we're going to visit Khara village, which is one of the biggest Gram Panchayats in this district. Let's try and find out how is the rural India coping up with this pandemic.
The village's proximity to the city would give the illusion that all must be well here, till we reach a gate with a notice stuck outside. Ram Ratan, a COVID patient, has been locked in the house for the last 1 week.
You would be lucky if you were COVID positive and you found such a notice outside your gate in the village, because here there is no tracking, that is going real time on ground zero. And even if you have a notice like this that you are tested COVID positive, you see that there are no visits, no checkups by the local medical practitioners.
जी मैडम कोई नहीं आया, कोई अधिकारी नहीं आया। 17 तारीख को मैडम आई थी, उसके बाद कोई नहीं आया। उसके बाद दवाई दे के चले गए, कोई नहीं आया अभी तक।
कितनी मुश्किल है दवाइयाँ मिलना?
बहुत मुश्किल है, मिल भी नहीं रही। दवाई है भी नहीं यहाँ पे मेडिकल में।
The Rajasthan government has formed a COVID core group at the villages level comprising of healthcare workers, teachers and panchayat members.
On one hand, you have the government records, files and the data. On the other hand, the ground report tells you a very different story. This is a letter from the officer in charge of the core team of Khara village, one of the biggest Gram Panchayats, that talks about the shortage of medicines. Medicines like paracetamol and azithromycin are unavailable for a population of more than 20,000.
डॉक्टर साहब भी बोले कि मदद करो, हमारे पास तो दवाई है नहीं है। जब करके चंदा इकट्ठा करा था, उसमें तो दवाई नहीं आ रही है जी। 4-5 हजार में तो दवाई थोड़ी आती है सर।
तो खांसी बुखार की भी दवाई नहीं मिल रही है?
खांसी जुकाम की दवाई नहीं मिल रही है सर, हमारे गांव में कोई नहीं है दवाई देने वाला।
The village has just one sub-health center that should cater to a population of about 3,000 to 5,000, but in Khara the number is almost 4 times that. Most of the houses have an ailing member with flu-like symptoms, but they go untracked and unattended.
The problem in Khara village is compounded by the fact that you have one health official versus a population of 15,000 at the local health center. And this area also includes the Rico industrial area. that invariably means more than 300 houses being catered door to door by one official, which is simply an impossible task.
कोरोना महामारी को देखते हुए एक एएनएम के भरोसे 15 से 20 हजार जनता के स्वास्थ्य का ख्याल है, उसको देखते हुए अभी ये पीएससी सेंटर होना चाहिए, जबकि ये उप स्वास्थ्य केंद्र है। यहाँ पर्याप्त मात्रा में दवाइयाँ भी गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से पूरी नहीं मिल पा रही है। वर्तमान में ये लगातार हम देखते आ रहे हैं।
Alerted about her arrival, nurse Seema has stacked up on medicines. But she admits that tending to the entire village while manning the center is extremely difficult.
अब देखो पीएससी की आवश्यकता है यहाँ और उप स्वास्थ्य केंद्र है। आबादी ज़्यादा है, रिको इंडस्ट्रीज भी एरिया भी है, गांव भी बड़ा है, तो स्टाफ एक है, तो उस हिसाब से थोड़ा तकलीफ तो हो ही रही है, और तो चल ही रहा है काम।
Due to the lockdown, Seema has to tend to more patients, many of whom are pregnant. Then she sets out with her medicine bag to go from door to door.
A mammoth tragedy unfolding in rural parts of India. The only thread that's holding it all together is the willpower of lone warriors like Seema Devi. It's time that the Rajasthan government, instead of headline management, indulges in some reality checks and boosts up the infrastructure in rural India that's in shambles.
As day turns into night, we try and gauge the enormity of the crisis. The only thing that tears the darkness is our camera lights. But what is clear as daylight is the anger of these people.
घर तो बिठा दिया, लॉकडाउन लग गया, तो खाएंगे क्या? क्या इन बच्चों को खिलाएंगे? क्या हम खाएंगे?
The Bhat community are daily wagers. The pandemic has choked their source of income. Santosh has 3 little children, but she has run out of money as well as food.
सब काम आदमी सब बंद करवा दिए कि घर पे बैठो, घर पे खाएंगे क्या हम? घर पे बैठ के कैसे बच्चों को पालेंगे हम? वैसे तो लॉकडाउन लगा दिया, वो बीमारी लगेगी नहीं लगेगी, वैसे भूखे मर जाएंगे।
The state government has made tall claims of a door-to-door rural survey to nip the pandemic in the bud. But schemes and policies rarely reach the underprivileged.
For the poorest of the poor in the village, it is a multiple battle. Fight against abject poverty, hunger, and this disease. In lockdown times, with no means of earning, their fight for survival is fierce and never-ending. With video journalist Satya Rotre, this is Mosmi Singh from Ground Zero, Bikaner, Khara village for India Today.
Trouble for two-time Olympic medalist Sushil Kumar doesn't seem to be ending anytime soon. The wrestler, who is on the run for over 2 weeks, has been nabbed now from Delhi. Sushil Kumar has now been sent to 6-day police remand. Remember that he's been accused in a murder case.
On the run for 2 weeks, a non-bailable warrant and a murder charge. No, we aren't talking about a criminal, but an Olympic hero. Life has turned upside down for two-time Olympic medalist wrestler Sushil Kumar since his name cropped up in the murder case of a 23-year-old wrestler. Police were on the lookout for Sushil since May the 4th and were finally able to arrest him from Delhi's Mundka area, along with his aide Ajay on Sunday, which ironically is World Wrestling Day.
आप देख पा रहे हैं सुशील कुमार को जो दिल्ली पुलिस की टीम है वो अब गिरफ्तार करने के बाद पेशी के लिए लेके जा रही है। ये है सुशील कुमार, आप देख पा रहे हैं जो सुशील है और अजय कुमार है, उसको लेकर बकायदा जो दिल्ली पुलिस है अब वो फिजिकली रोहिणी कोर्ट में पेशी के लिए लेकर जा रही है।
Trouble began for the 37-year-old wrestler from the very own stadium where he's revered like an idol, the Chhatrasal Stadium. On the fateful night of May 4th, two groups of wrestlers clashed with each other at the stadium. Cops alleged that Sushil and his associate assaulted 23-year-old fellow wrestler Sagar Rana and his friends. Rana had to be hospitalized and later died of his injuries. Now the family of the deceased have demanded death sentence for Sushil Kumar.
पूछताछ होगी, कर लेंगे जी, सख्त से सख्त सजा मिलनी चाहिए। मेरी तो ये मांग है, मेरे को पूरा विश्वास है कानून पर।
गुरु ही शिष्य का कातिल, जैसे सुशील ने तो काम किया है, तो गुरु ने शिष्य का कत्ल किया है। गुरु की गरिमा पे भी अब लोग सवाल उठाएंगे।
Cops had announced a bounty of 1 lakh rupees for information on Sushil Kumar, and an FIR was registered against him for murder, abduction and criminal conspiracy. The wrestler had then filed an anticipatory bail plea but was rejected by Delhi's Rohini court on May the 18th.
सुशील कुमार और उसके सहयोगी अजय कुमार को गिरफ्तार किया गया जब दोनों स्कूटी पर सवार होकर किसी से मिलने के लिए जा रहे थे। दरअसल प्लानिंग ये थी कि सुशील कुमार दिल्ली पुलिस को चकमा देकर कोर्ट में सरेंडर कर देगा, लेकिन वो कामयाब नहीं हो पाया। स्पेशल सेल की टीम ने मुंडका इलाके से सुशील कुमार, जिस पर दिल्ली पुलिस ने 1 लाख रुपए का इनाम रखा था, अजय जिस पर 50,000 रुपए का इनाम था, दोनों को गिरफ्तार किया है।
Sushil Kumar is not new to controversies. In the build-up to the 2016 Rio Olympics, he was engaged in a legal battle with Narsingh Yadav over the trials. Later, when Narsingh tested positive for a banned substance, he alleged foul play. A year later, Sushil's camp was involved in the attack on wrestler Praveen Rana, following a trial bout between the two in 2017. The third controversy involved Sushil, the administrator, where mismanagement allegations were leveled against him as the president of School Games Federation of India. Charges were never proven against Sushil in any of the controversies. The law will decide whether the 37-year-old Sushil Kumar is guilty or not in the murder of a young wrestler. But by opting to run, India's most successful wrestler has made only things worse for himself. With Arvind Ojha in Delhi, Bureau Report, India Today.